You were married before Sansa.
Drink.
You're drinking wine, but you prefer ale.
No! You're a virgin.
That's a statement about the present.
At no point in the past, up until this very moment, have you slept with a man. Or a woman.
Welcome to the Binge List. I'm your host, Paul Chappell. Today I am reviewing Game of Thrones Season 8, Episode 4, The Last of the Starks, I believe. So let me just go ahead and say, if you have not seen this episode, just go ahead and turn away now. Go watch something else. I'm going to be spoiling a bunch of stuff in this episode. And let me just start by saying, if you're still with me at this point, and you've seen this episode, let me just say, it was a terrible episode. I just don't know how to put it. The magic is gone, guys. I mean, where do I begin with this episode? I really had this terrible feeling in the pit of my stomach after last week's episode, because we had been led to believe that the big bad in Game of Thrones was the Night King. And of course, if you watch that episode, you know that Arya somehow jumps in the last minute and stabs the Night King, ending the long night, which was more than a little annoying, but it made me realize at that point that George R.R. Martin has no input on this season. He obviously opted out of this. And we've got a bunch of hacks in the writing room. Let me just go to one thing that really annoyed me. Probably the most annoying thing. Actually, there's a bunch of things that really, really annoyed me. The first thing I was really annoyed by, we're having this celebration in Winterfell after the big battle. And of course, Dany makes the wise choice, so-called wise choice, to make Gendry Rivers Lord of Storm's End, because he's supposedly the last Baratheon. I don't exactly know how that's going to go over with the people of Storm's End having a blacksmith as Lord. Probably not a wise idea, but okay. I wasn't crazily annoyed by that, but as with everything, it seems like the writers are just trying to do stuff. Half of the stuff they're doing is trying to just pander to their audience, and the other half is just they're just trying to bring everything to a fast conclusion. And I have problems with both of those, I have a problem with both of those philosophies going into this season, because it just allows for bad writing. One thing, okay, let me go back to what was really, really upsetting to me. The first thing that was upsetting to me, they're playing this drinking game. It's Tyrion, of course, Jaime, and Brienne of Tarth. And they're doing like the truth or dare game or whatever. And you guess something with the other person. And if you guess right, they have to drink. So at some point during the game, Tyrion guesses that Brienne, a highborn lady, is a freaking virgin. And I'm sitting there thinking like, no, duh, she's a virgin, she's highborn. If these idiots knew anything about medieval history, that was literally a woman's job. In fact, I would say they had two jobs in the medieval area: birthing babies and making sure they were virgins when they got married to some other lord. So the fact that he could be so, that anybody would be shocked that she was a virgin is just moronic. And the fact that she was ashamed by that was moronic. Because that's literally would be a point of great pride in a highborn lady to be a virgin. So I don't know what the writers were thinking. They obviously have no idea of any type of history, especially medieval history. They're ejecting these 21st century morality into this show, and it makes no freaking sense. So then, of course, we got people rallying behind Jon Snow for some reason when he did absolutely nothing last episode. None of his actions had any effect on the defeat of the White Walkers. And yet, you've got Tormund and all these other people rallying behind him, wanting to make him king. And I just don't get it. Jon Snow is perhaps the worst hero in this series. He failed at the Battle of the Bastards. He was lured right into Ramsay's trap, just like Sansa said he would be. And he's only alive because Sansa came in and saved the day at the last moment. Well, Sansa and Littlefinger and the Lords of the Vale. But this notion that Jon Snow is this great military leader has not been borne out by the facts. The defense of Winterfell in the last episode was horrible. From a military standpoint, none of the strategy they deployed made any sense. They had all their good assets in front of the ditch. The ditch was a good idea. But the problem with that ditch is that it wasn't really protecting their assets, and it could have been used as a stalling tactic to allow the archers of Winterfell to get a bead on all the White Walkers and just mow them down. But no, they put it behind the forces instead of in front. And of course, they made the stupid decision to have the Dothraki charge full steam ahead into this horde of undead whites, which makes no sense either, because we've seen the power of the White Walkers in other episodes, particularly at Hardhome. So if Jon Snow truly came up with this strategy, he's got a lot of answer for it, because he knows the power of the White Walkers, and he should have seen that coming. And he probably should have kept the Dothraki in reserve. And I was a little puzzled in this episode that they revealed that there are actually Dothraki left, because it looked to me like every single warrior was wiped out. So I had a lot of problems with this episode. The other thing, of course, is Euron Greyjoy and his sneaking abilities. He has this ability to be exactly where he needs to be for the plot, and that's disturbing to me. He last pulled his trick, I think last season, when he attacked Yara's fleet, and he just magically appears out of nowhere and boards exactly the right ship and takes Yara hostage. Well, he does that again in this episode. He sneaks up on Dragonstone and kills one of Dany's dragons with one of those scorpions that they have mounted on the ship. And he's manning it. And early in the episode, we see him in King's Landing. So he not only did he magically appear at exactly the right moment, but he teleported again from King's Landing exactly when he needed to be in Dragonstone. So I don't know. It's just, I know they're trying to ratchet up the tension. I know they're trying to even the odds, but Cersei should have never been relegated to the big bad in this season. She should have been a minor annoyance at the most. The Night King should have killed Arya last episode. That would have been a very Game of Thrones ending. In fact, there was some indication that he had some special powers when Dany set him on fire with Drogon and nothing happened. So to me, I felt like when Arya stabbed him, it should have had no effect. We should have had a scenario where the heroes were going to have to figure out a way to kill the Night King using methods that were a little bit unorthodox. What I thought was going to happen was that, of course, you know the whole prophecy of Azor on High, who stabbed his own wife in the heart with a sword to make Lightbringer, the sword he used to in the first Long Night 8,000 years ago. So I thought we were going to have that kind of scenario where Jon was going to have to do that with Dany, and apparently no. Jon Snow, even though it has been hinted time and time again that he is Azor Ahai, no, Jon Snow is pretty much nobody. I mean, I know he's Aegon Targaryen, but in the scheme of things, his sisters have proven more effective at fighting than he has in these last couple seasons. Because like I said, Sansa saved them at the Battle of the Bastards. Arya saved them at the Battle of Winterfell. So I just don't know. I have no idea. Let me just say, I'm just glad it's almost over. There's 2 more episodes, but I just hate to see writers fumble in the end zone like this, because that's basically what it is, to use a football analogy. They fumbled in the end zone. They're having the same problem that Lost had their last season, just bad writing on top of bad writing. And I'm just watching out of morbid curiosity at this point, because I do want to finish the series. I mean, obviously I want to finish, but I'm not going to get any joy, I don't think, out of these last 2 episodes. And speaking of silly things in this episode, how in the hell does Cersei know that Missandei is so special to Daenerys? Where does she get this knowledge? I mean, she's only met Daenerys one time. And at that meeting, Missandei was basically just one of Dany's handmaidens. So how does Cersei know she has this special relationship with Missandei? And how does she know that killing Missandei is going to have this great effect on Dany and draw her into attacking? I just didn't get that whole scene. And to me, it was another signal that the writers are just trying to pull at the heartstrings of their audience, but story-wise, it doesn't make logical sense that Missandei would be used in that way. So I'm just, oh God, I just can't get over how disappointed I am in this episode. And of course, we had Jon Snow having to reveal to his sisters who he really is. Now, on one hand, I feel like I would have to tell the truth to my family if it has some secret like that. But on the other hand, Dany is right. He really should have withheld that information. So, but you know, Jon Snow is dumb. We won't rehash all the ways he's dumb, but Oh my God. Remember, he did get stabbed by his own men. So there's just so many instances of this guy just doing the wrong thing. And we're just led to believe that it's all because of his honor when it's really because of plot. And that just does not work. This does not work. Having characters do dumb things for the sake of plot is a hacky way of writing. So anyway, I won't go too much further. And I've said my piece. Horrible episode. I'm not looking forward to next episode. I hear there's going to be a big battle. But I don't know. Hopefully, George R.R. Martin will be able to release the books in a timely fashion before he dies of old age. But we'll see what happens with that. But anyway, I would like to thank my new subscribers. And if you haven't subscribed already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Give me a like. Give me a comment. And I will see you when I see you. Thanks for watching.